Meditation means to actually approach the supernatural world and its inhabitants in spirit, so we can get to know them from our own experience. This is the way to gain in a materialistic world an idea of the higher reality. Nothing can transmit an understanding of the invisible world except the direct sensation of it. During contemplation, your teacher is really present. To this experience, you must break through if you want to progress in spiritual practice. Be assured that I am close to you. Strengthen the awareness of our presence in your life. Invoke our power for your deeds. With the rough five senses, you are unable to grasp the spiritual reality of the presence of the teacher. But with the higher senses, the centers of your true nature, especially with the heart, this becomes possible. In all moments of your life, learn to remember that you are watched continuously by the eagle eye and the flaming heart of the one who called you. Our gross body and the insufficient refinement of our senses are the only obstacles that prevent us from realizing His presence. The spiritual practice lets the immortal experience that he is a link in the chain of hierarchy, a member of the timeless community of all those who walk the spiritual path and serve the common good. With the teacher, among the other brethren of this order, you are safe. The best remedy, the best weapon, is your understanding of our care. Man will ask, are you always with us? We can be, but man must want it. Thus is to be understood Jesus' promise. And behold, I am ever with you, even to the end of the world. Man seeks instinctively, like any other creature, to associate himself with a higher level, to lean on a teacher, ultimately to approach God. In the contemplative practice, this elementary need finds fulfillment. It is promised that God will allow Himself to be found if we seek Him, which means if we approach Him in spirit, in meditation. Agni Yoga says, by whatever paths ye come to me, I shall meet ye. Similarly, the Bible says, draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. And ye shall find me, when ye shall search for me with all your heart, and I will be found of you, saith the Lord. Love for the higher spheres is the ultimate reason for treading the spiritual path. How can it arise? Only by being close to the teacher. Let us strive to approach the great masters. Then love for them and the desire for even greater closeness, for succession, will germinate by itself. Greater proximity will lead to more burning love. The ascent caused by this love will lead to even greater closeness, and so on, in infinity. In addition, you can feel during contemplation that you yourself are being loved by your elder brothers. If you, in turn, respond to their love by your love, a connection will be created quite naturally. We cannot send back a return wave to the love that has knocked at our hearts in those hours which I have mentioned, without making a lasting connection with its source. The connection to the higher world is a source of strength from which you can draw at any time. This food keeps the fire of your inner light burning. Everything you need, comfort, strength, and love, is present more than abundantly in the higher spheres of the upper world. In meditation, you open your heart for these transmissions and let them draw in your being. If it were possible for one of the doubters to perceive the waves of energy, prayer, or aspiration, whichever you choose to term it, rolling out to the inhabitants of some of the higher spheres, and the return waves of exquisite light and color, easily interpreted by the trained disciple, their doubts as to the efficacy of prayer would vanish. In contemplation, you fill your being with the spirit of the Master, the spirit of work and discipline, of struggle and ascent, of purity, wisdom and power, of serenity and joy, of pride and dignity, of peace and tranquility, of the conquest of the world, of selflessness and patience. If you want to think, to talk, and to act in this spirit in the material world, you first need to assimilate it perfectly within yourself. The communion with the higher world will result in a renewal of forces. The old man is able to renew these energies, without which he would perish in a few days, only unconsciously during sleep. The spiritual disciple learns to scoop them consciously in meditation. Only open your heart. In meditation, you assimilate with every breath the divine spirit and fill yourself with vitality and joy. When our consciousness is completely transported into the domain where there is no fear and depression, then we are invulnerable to any filth. you can actually tank up the force of hierarchy and act with its help on earth, and thus be much more successful than if you would rely on your own weak powers alone. I know that my power is multiplied when I appeal to heaven. May heaven provide me with a particle of its power. In a world in which the spiritual man must make do without any external assistance, without the community with his teacher and classmates, the meditative connection to his homeland is his only support. You will succeed to build up your own world, to defend and to consolidate it only on the secure basis of this spiritual foundation. Detachment from the world, loneliness, and self-sacrifice are hardly bearable without the powers that flow from the higher communion. Of course, man always needs consolation. Distress and worry are known in abundance to the saints as well. The question is, where do you turn to? To material or to spiritual comforters? In the world, there is no peace. The basis of meditation is the realization that we have to look for this vital achievement nowhere else than within ourselves. There lies its source, and meditation opens it up. Peace is within you. There you have to find it. One may add a most useful exercise to preserve silence and direct one's thoughts to the Most High. A wonderful warmth suffuses one. Meditation is the true comforter which is adequate to your higher being. If you consider your earthly existence long enough from the broader perspective of the higher self, the concerns and needs with which you struggle every day on the material plane become smaller and smaller, until finally, in the face of eternity, they fade away into nothing. Comfort and strength are in the air. You just have to draw from there. In all disturbing mental or emotional conditions, therefore, indraw the consciousness by deliberate, quiet breathing and seek to correlate with the sixth breath on its own plane of force and consciousness. If this is done, there will immediately result a balanced state and a feeling of inner calm and peace with control of outer conditions. Motions and emotions cease more and more as we go in consciousness toward the center of being, for the kingdom of the divine rhythmic breath, heaven, is within. If you regularly collect yourself within your higher nature and commune with the higher spheres, if you make it a habit to acknowledge the primacy of the spirit in trouble and temptation and resort to meditation, then, soon, you will need no longer earthly comforters, such as cigarettes, alcohol, or chocolate. You overcome these desires of the lower self in a natural way, namely on the higher path of true spiritual consolation. Thus, in silence, without wasting time, one can receive a stream of refreshment. Only developed spirituality can uplift the human consciousness in a single sigh. It is certainly a higher, healthier, and worthier way to procure love, strength, and comfort, of which we are so desperately in need in everyday life, by connecting to the higher spheres, rather than by trying, like the old man, to obtain them through distraction or material pleasures. We must only practice the new path and make a firm habit of it. Then we will soon be able to dispense of the unreliable worldly pillars. It cannot be said clearly enough. Meditation is no Eastern musing. Rather, it has a clear, earthly, material goal: to change our nature and to make of us other, better men. A single vision of the distant worlds is enough to transform one's entire life. Few have approached this step. Nevertheless, these transfigurers of life do exist. Meditation is the most important spiritual exercise for the purification and refinement of your thoughts and feelings, of your eternal individuality, the soul. It actually transforms our entire being. You know this from your daily life. Staying in a pure and holy place, for example, a cathedral or a concert hall, actually purifies you from the accumulations of the garbage with which you get in contact daily. It removes lust, fear and doubts, darkness and dejection from your heart. For example, in a church, you are hardly overcome by the desire to drink alcohol. Meditation is the only natural way, compatible with human dignity, to suppress these evils, not only externally, but internally by the roots, and to completely get rid of them. Spotted and oppressed from everyday life, you enter the session. Purified and elevated, you rise from it. Out of useful meditation is molded complete attainment. Meditation really changes the very substance of your spiritual being. It puts it in a state of higher vibration. In this state, you are receptive for higher energies and no longer respond to lower ones. For example, the bottle of whiskey or the pack of chocolate on the table in front of you cease to exert any attraction to you. Their coarse emanations do not find resonance any longer within your being, which is now vibrating finer and higher. The essential nature of man can be transmuted by the invocation of better vibrations. To put yourself in a state of higher vibration and the influx of higher energy from the spiritual world, actually remove unwanted coarse particles from your spiritual being, namely those which are unfit to resound in common with higher vibrations. By purification or expulsion, one can eliminate this harmful lower matter. Instead, your higher nature is being filled with finer particles that respond to higher vibrations. Thus, you actually change the composition of your soul. So we can see that during a natural higher communion, no loss occurs, but a saturation with a high substance. This purification of the soul you should perform as regularly as the cleaning of the body. You will experience the recovered, natural, childlike purity as a happy feeling. Just as you feel better when you have showered the body or once again cleaned thoroughly your study. The endeavor of the spiritual disciple must be to consciously create this fiery state of purity, strength and joy in moments of contemplation. And then to continue to keep it up even after the descent down to the everyday material life, with the aim of remaining even there, unresponsive to lower vibrations.